Rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Chairman Weigel. Katie Ogawa.
Here.
Steve Ballage. Rachel Manella.
Here.
Lori Summers. Here. Denise Winfrey.
Here.
Mark Ferry.
Here.
We have a quorum. We have minutes from November 16th. Any additions or corrections? We have a motion to approve. There's a motion. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. First, I'd like to welcome our new members for this year, Lori Summers and Mark Ferry, to our committee.
Thank you.
Welcome. New business, we have extension of a special use permit. Brian, you want to give us an update?
The applicant, Mr. Volek, has been experiencing some difficulties completing his project for the party barn, as they call it. That was the name they gave it. It's mainly related to fire code requirements and sprinklering, but he anticipates that within this extension period that they should have their building permit issued, and then the special use permit would become effective. So he's requesting a 6-month extension from the approval date, which would have been November 18th, so it'd be 6 months from then.
Okay. Any questions, by committee? Have a motion?
Move.
Motion, second. Any objectors to this change? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Other business, pre-authorization to foreclose. Jim?
Good morning, committee members. This subdivision we approved 2005, and most public improvements was complete except the service and a couple of minor, the street signs, street tree, and based on the housing market, the developer cannot finish subdivision. They do the extension letter credit every year, and this is a pre-authorization in case the letter credit cannot be extended. So we just prepare documentation today, and in case the letter credit fail to extend.
Okay. Any questions by committee? Question?
This is just precautionary, basically, because currently the line of credit that they have in place right now, if extended, would cover the
Yes.
extent of the work that needs to still be completed.
Yes,
That's all I have. Thank you. I'm okay with it. So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the change to our land use plan, adoption of the Sugar Run Creek area neighborhood plan. Colin?
We need to open this up as a public hearing.
Okay, we're going to have a public hearing on this. We're gonna
Make a
have-
motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
The roll call, please.
Tom Weigel.
Yes.
Katie Ogawa.
Yes.
Steve Ballage.
Yes.
Rachel Manella.
Yes.
Lori Summers.
Yes.
Denise Winfrey.
Yes.
Mark Ferry.
Yes. Okay, we're in a public hearing. Want to give us an update?
Good morning. My name is Colin Dusing. I'm Long Range Planner with the Land Use Office, if you don't know me. We are doing this addition to the Land Resource Management Plan in the Sugar Run Creek area, which is the Preston Heights area and the neighborhoods to the east and to the west. And, excuse me, all of them are connected up by the Sugar Run Creek, so therefore we're giving it the Sugar Run Creek area plan. This started off as the history behind it is we did a Route 66 plan for Route 53 from Joliet to Braidwood. And within that, we identified certain areas that need improvements. And this is just one of those improvements to our plan. And so this is just a step within that particular document. And the reason why what we're doing is having CMAP perform what they call local technical assistance. They first did this with us in the Fairmont community. We appreciated their efforts in that case, and we felt that it would be important to continue that relationship with CMAP and for the Sugar Run Creek area. And so so we have CMAP here to do the presentation.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Brandon Nolan, I'm Senior Planner with CMAP, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. As Colin said, we kind of started this off a year and a half ago, I'd say now. And since that time, we've been working with staff, working with the community to create this plan. And today is the beginning of the adoption process. It's already been approved by the steering committee. Denise was on the steering committee, and then hopefully she gave her approval of this as well. But really, we just want to present you kind of an overview of the plan today, and then get your comments, get your feedback, any revisions you think are necessary before it is to go to the board for final approval and adoption. Thank you. As Colin was saying, the study area really is the Crescent Heights neighborhood, in addition to kind of areas to the east and to the west. So you've also got the corridors along the Des Plaines River, Patterson Road, Sugar Creek Hills neighborhood, kind of all encompassing. We chose the Sugar Run Creek as kind of a common element that unites them and really tries to give this area of the county, which is unincorporated, immediately south of the city of Joliet, really try to give it an additional identity. And that was one of the main themes that came out through outreach with the community, is that kind of the need for this broader community identity. Just some quick themes that kind of run throughout the document. Like I said, unincorporated pocket, kind of, it's very akin to other parts of Joliet that are actually incorporated. It's got an urban feel to parts of it, a bit more dense development elsewhere in the county. It's proximate to large-scale development, including the main one, the center point and the mobile center, with both namely the area off of Lairway Road. As you know, historically it was a blues destination. Patterson Road was a historic blues corridor. Club 99 was managed by Buddy Guy back in the day, and had numerous artists there, B.B. King, numerous kings actually, Muddy Waters, Bo Diddley. And then obviously, as Colin mentioned, Route 66, really this being a kind of a key segment just south of the city along the Mother Road. Really quick overview of the timeline here. Again, we began this in early or mid 2015. We got partway through the process, and then the previous project manager left CMAP, and so we took a little bit of delay, and then I came on board last January. So with that, I picked this up again and worked with county staff and the community to kind of take this across the finish line. Overall, the plan document, which hopefully I believe you received a PDF link to this, but the kind of main chapters are an introduction, which really talks about what I've just gone over with you now, land use and development, kind of the overarching framework for it, housing, economic development, transportation and mobility, and then green infrastructure. And then each of those components has a kind of action or implementation section within it as well. Key themes, and again, these kind of occur through multiple chapters in the plan, but this is kind of mostly coming out of outreach and then our own due diligence on existing additions. One of the key parts of this plan is really trying to promote kind of stabilization of the surrounding neighborhoods and hopefully improving quality of life within those neighborhoods over time. Looking at encouraging new investment, whether that be new residential development. As you'll see in a few slides here, we're talking about potentially new housing product that doesn't really exist in the neighborhood, but could help diversify housing stock and attract more home buyers to the area. As also looking at kind of smaller scale, neighborhood scale commercial development, along with the larger scale commercial development that is kind of most typical along these kind of highway corridors. Improving mobility was another big factor. It's actually one of the main reasons that the county came to us in the first place. 1 out of 5 vehicles on the road, at least according to the most current data, is a truck. And that's atypical and kind of an issue for local quality of life there. So that has impacts with noise pollution, air pollution, mobility being a big one. How do you safely get between, I mean, 53 dissects this neighborhood, so getting from east to west, it's a key issue. So how do the pedestrians navigate that? How do cars navigate that? You know, I myself, taking multiple trips to this area, almost got in 2 or 3 different accidents trying to take a left or take a right at certain intersections. So we know this is a stretch of corridor that the counties are already working with IDOT on, and it's something that we hope that basically this local plan can be used to help better hone and focus some of those bigger strategies that are being proposed for the corridor overall. We were in touch with the IDOT engineers and people working on that corridor study that's kind of currently underway to look at the right-of-way for 53. And we believe all the recommendations in the plan dovetail well with what they have in mind for the corridor overall. And then last but not least, enhancing kind of quality of life and the appearance of the corridor, looking at how we look at not just transportation, not just commercial development, but other aspects of life, looking at trails, open space, water supply. This really is a comprehensive plan for this neighborhood. It touches on a lot of different facets of kind of daily life. I'm going to go over kind of top 5 recommendations. Again, this is a big document. I think it's 100 plus pages. We're at 107. So I'm not going to go through every page, but I wanted to kind of touch on kind of the top 5 things that really have an overarching impact on all recommendations in the plan. The Illinois 53 access management. Again, we were in touch with IDOT about these proposed kind of recommendations, and we think dovetails well with the study. We're really looking at proposing some kind of offset frontage road along the western side of 53 that acts as kind of a local access for neighborhoods, and then also helps get some of the traffic off of 53 if you're trying to access some of the existing and proposed development along 53. Local road extensions, again, kind of complementing that frontage road, and then improve pedestrian access. So where can we make improvements along 53 itself and then within the neighborhoods to make it easier to get around? So this graphic here, which is in the plan minus the kind of arrows on it, but you've got proposed intersection improvements, basically where we think there's, we're proposing a new light at Zarley Road, for example, and I know that this study is being used by the people we've talked with IDOT to kind of get the conversation going about getting a signal warrant study getting done. So hopefully that is a possibility. But getting a new light here with pedestrian crossing improved is really a key point for the neighborhood. Zarley Road, Zarley Boulevard came up numerous times in outreach about being kind of a problematic intersection and being something that's also kind of an entry point for the neighborhood itself. The frontage road I mentioned, kind of connecting the dots with already existing roadways, looking at kind of unused land between existing and future uses to really create that kind of north-south access that parallels 53. So if people want to go to a new neighborhood shopping center down here or go to kind of some new uses at the corner of Zarley, they can take a right off onto the local roads and then use that access road to get to parking, to go from one business to the other without having to go back onto 53. So basically eliminating as many curb cuts as we can along 53. And then kind of the last component of this would be looking at really getting a new kind of quality trail connection. This is the utility right-of-way that runs along the southern part of the study area. So to orient you, sorry, I should have done this sooner. This is north, this is south, this is 53. We're really focusing kind of the new access on the western side of the neighborhood because the eastern side is really pretty much developed. So this is utility right-of-way here. Larry Road is just off kind of at the corner of the room here. And then this is kind of new proposed development, which we can talk about in a minute. I mentioned Zarley Road. In addition to a signal improvement, we're also looking at proposing kind of neighborhood scale. Again, it's already a neighborhood node to begin with. There's a gas station, there's a couple other smaller retailers there, but looking long term, can there be higher quality retail? Can we get more of a neighborhood focus at that intersection? Also looking at encouraging larger scale development to the south, Rachel Avenue, which is basically Rachel is right here, so just to the north of the multifamily that's along the corridor right now. And then looking at funding mechanisms. Again, it is unincorporated Will County, so the funding mechanism available to businesses is more limited than if it were in an incorporated area, for example. So the plan really tries to parse out what could happen with or without annexation to encourage new development in this corridor. Annexation, I know, is a big word, and we're not throwing it around lightly. We had Kendall Jackson was also on the steering committee, and he's approved this plan. So anything discussed in this plan regarding that is basically opening the door for conversation with the city of Joliet, for example. Not saying that they support annexation, we're really just, or the county supports it. We're really just saying it's something for kind of food for thought in this plan. Talking about new development, and we worked to really try to illustrate what we're talking here, because this is really different for the neighborhood. All the gray buildings in this diagram are existing building footprints. There's a large area here. I think it's currently owned by Vulcan, I believe, but really looking at kind of filling in the area with single-family homes, maybe a larger product than what's in the neighborhoods now. That's kind of what's more marketable, but also looking at single-family attached, so townhomes, row homes, and then some more multifamily, similar to what's on the southern end of the community. Really, that kind of housing product doesn't exist much in this market, and we think there's an opportunity for it. We think that there really is an opportunity to get kind of lower price points, but still have a single family kind of character to the area, and gets potential new homeowners into the neighborhood. And that is kind of time again through outreach. You know, we want more families here. We want more rooftops because we also want more retail, and those kind of go together. And then I mentioned the commercial development. This is the Zarley Road area, and then down here, to give you an idea of scale, this footprint was taken from a Burkhart's, I think in Mokina. So this is kind of a community scale shopping center. It's a grocery store with a couple other complementary tenants. So it's not massive, it's not a mall. Basically, the only thing we heard throughout our outreach here in retail is we want a grocery store, we want a grocery store, we want a grocery store. We're not saying this can happen today, but we think with more rooftops in the area and in long term as the area grows, we think that grocery store definitely does have potential. There is some market support for that kind of use right now, but I think to build something new in this area, you'd have to kind of look at competition in the nearby neighborhoods as well. Zarley Road, I've already kind of hit on this. Some of the things we really want to target as a pedestrian and kind of neighborhood gateway is crosswalks. Pedestrian verbiage is basically an island where you can kind of stop in the middle of the road as you're crossing the street, not get hit by a car if you kind of don't catch the brake and the light. A gateway features some kind of monument sign, landscaping, hardscaping, something that really says welcome to Sugar Run Creek or welcome to Preston Heights, whatever the community kind of ends up landing on in terms of that identity, but something that really says this is our neighborhood. Target streetscape, we are proposing streetscape along 53. Recognize it's very costly and you can't do it the whole stretch, but focusing at key intersections, for example, looking at key intersection improvements so people know as they're driving along 53 that this is someone else's front door, this is a welcoming environment. The vibe that's given right now by existing development is kind of, it's a pass-through. And I think that's part of the issue is people do live there, that their community is very proud, and they want to make sure 53 reflects that pride. This is a page taken out of the plan of examples of some kind of similar scale pedestrian environments that we're talking about, similar scale improvements. This is the Zarley Road here. As you can see, the pedestrian refuge is here with a landscape kind of median in the middle. Again, the streetscape really focused here, and then down this way, it's kind of as development occurs, you can do that. And then also looking at kind of that smaller scale commercial development at the corners. This is the Dollar General that was recently approved. We got the footprint in there. I think that's accurate to the site plan. There'll be some minor revisions to this, working with the consultant that made this for us, like showing the parking areas and things in some of these areas, just some minor visual corrections, but overall, I mean, this is 99% of what will be in the final plan document. Bus shelters on either side, really working with PACE as well as a long-term goal is trying to prioritize transit stops and locations and routing for the neighborhood. Another major recommendation, again, looking at regional trail along the utility corridor. So this is, again, Laraway is just to the south here. Rachel Avenue that we talked about where the new development would be is right here. And this is the utility corridor that runs down the kind of cuts across the southern part of the community. Again, long-term project, but we also think it complements existing regional plans right now about, I think that the current plan says Laraway Road should be that destination. Given the character of Laraway Road with the truck traffic, this is a much preferred alternative because it gets bikers and pedestrians into more of a kind of I guess, pastoral setting rather than being on the side of a truck route. With that said, it would be more costly, obviously, than putting in a trail along the side of Laraway Road. So long-term, it's working with the utility companies to get the easement, looking at grants to fund the installation, and then long-term maintenance. This is something we bounced off the Forest Reserve, for example, in talking about alternative trail alignments. It still fits within the overall framework for that regional trail connection, really connecting the glacial trail to the areas to the west, and then connecting, if you can hit Brandon Road, you can go north then to the I&M Canal as well. So it is a great regional link to connect those other two regional assets. This is kind of illustrating how it comes through in the concept. You can see it would ideally, this is a grade separated crossing. We don't want to have the trail coming across. With a light going down here and a light going in Zarley, you wouldn't be able to get a light for this trail crossing as well. So it's kind of trying to work with what you have in terms of being able to access, create safe access across the roadway. Just to show you this is done in the region, this is a snapshot from Romeoville where they've done quite a few of these utility easement kind of trails. But gives you an idea, you do have the overhead power lines, but overall you have a wide green space, meandering trails, and it's quite pleasant compared to kind of on highway routes. And I think this is the last one. We got two more. This is a snippet from your Route 66 plan that was done that kind of preceded this neighborhood plan. One of the key aspects of that for this area was the North Gateway. So Patterson Road comes in off 53 and juts down here. Right now this is vacant, privately owned, but vacant land that's really not being used for anything. And this is again from your previous plan, envision kind of a neighborhood gateway park. Someone could pull off, learn about the history of the area, learn about Route 66, see some pleasant artwork. I know that staff are also in talks with railroads about what can be done to improve the overpass, get that kind of more of a welcoming, not just kind of a rusty side of a route overpass, but something that says Route 66 or something that really speaks to the neighborhood heritage. Along those lines, we also looked at kind of green space improvements along Patterson Road. In the 66 plan, we also had this large kind of, I believe this is split between a private landowner and the city of Joliet, I want to say, maybe one other landowner, but this large kind of natural area along the Des Plaines River where another creek, and I'm blanking on the name right now, sorry, comes out right next to the dam. This long-term plan recommends looking at what can be done in this area. You can't build on it. It's very kind of questionable land for doing anything other than natural space. But could there be a boardwalk, for example, something that isn't invasive for the natural topography, some kind of overlook looking at the river, really trying to turn that kind of wasted space into an amenity for the neighborhood and for the region together. And then last but not least, kind of a major issue that unfortunately we can't do much about the regional nature of this issue, truck traffic. Obviously, Holbrook Road, there's hopes that that project kind of cures some of the ills of truck traffic in this area. The plan really tries to do its best with the current reality and looking at, yes, you've got 1 out of 5 vehicles as a truck. What do we do to mitigate the problems that causes, basically? So overall, things like Holbrook Road will help bring that number down, bring that ratio of truck traffic down, but the plan really focuses on those local improvements and how do you improve local quality of life, given that is more or less a reality that's going to change some, but isn't going to go away. So that's kind of the big picture overview. Haven't answered any questions or comments you had. Take it from there.
Thank you. Any questions or comments by the committee? Judy?
So just in the beginning, I noticed you guys have to update who the county board members are.
Yeah, I got those comments from Colin today.
And then possibly like on that one page where you showed us the Illinois Route 53 access line where the north is to the west, sort of flipping that around, or at least putting a little directional thing on there so you know when you look at it.
I think that's only in this presentation.
Oh,
I
okay.
think in the book it's north-south the whole way.
Okay, just because it makes it confusing.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, great.
Yeah, in the book it's kind of perspectives like this, so it's got kind of looking north-south.
Okay, great.
I just want to say thank you to Brandon and Colin and for all the people who helped work on this, and I move that we adopt this plan.
Second. We have a motion, second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. One comment I had was the name Sugar Run Creek. I've seen the name Sugar Creek, and I see that on maps, but where did you get the run in there? Is that common for these type of studies? Or?
No, I believe the official name of the creek is Sugar Run Creek.
Okay.
Yeah, we can verify with it. As far as I know, I know I can Google some maps like Google, I think might say Sugar Creek, but the actual full name is Sugar Run.
Okay. Good. Okay, any public comment on this? No. Okay, I make a motion to come out of public hearing.
Second.
Second, call the roll, please.
Thank you.
Tom Wago,
Yes.
Judy O'Connell,
Yes.
Steve Bowledge,
Yes.
Ray Manila,
Yes.
Lori Summers,
Yes.
Denise Winfrey,
Yes.
Mark Ferry.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have anything else on the agenda, reports or comments. I have no comments. Committee members, any comments? Okay. Director, any comments?
Just simply to repeat the invitation that we extended to Ms. Summers and Mr. Ferry, that at a time that's convenient to them, if they would like to come by the department and get a little bit of an overview of our functions and a little more in-depth discussion about how we're going to relate with this committee. An invitation has been extended, and we have to hear from them.
Okay, any public comment? No public comment? Okay. First, one thing mentioned at our caucus was the designation of the chief engineer, and I mentioned it to Matt Guzman. Maybe we could look into that again to see if we could designate our consulting engineer as our chief engineer, or chief subdivision. So I think we should look into that rather than hiring another engineer.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever on the table to hire another engineer. The matter's being discussed in the county executive.
Well, Mr. Bustos mentioned at our meeting that we may have to hire another engineer, so I don't.
Well, to put the matter in context, going back several years now, when there was a vacancy in that position, we did get authorization to have posting of the position several occasions. And we're finding that at the salary levels that the county was in a position to budget for, we weren't getting any kind of acceptable response. This was during the period when we were coming out of the recession. During the middle of the recession, as various engineering firms were laying off personnel, we were fortunate enough to be able to hire a PE and have that individual, Tom, you'll recall, for a period of time. But coming out of the recession, the salary that we're able to pay is simply not attractive, apparently, in current market conditions. So with that in view, the decision was made to talk with the county engineer in the highway department about performing that function of signing on plat documents or signing on subdivision matters when they came up. As you all know, the volume and frequency of subdivisions right now is close to non-existent. That could change, but presently it's very, very low. And then the individual need for plat signatures is likewise very, very infrequent. But the arrangement was set up with Mr. Gould that through the county executive's office, that when such a matter would arise, staff would do all the workup and the analysis, but then would take it over to Bruce, answer any questions he might have, and then sign it. Of course, with the transition in that particular position, we're needing to, and the county executive's office is currently looking into whether that type of arrangement that we enjoyed with Mr. Gould can continue with Ron. So we'll get a resolution to that. But I should also mention there was a point in time when the notion of using a consultant for this purpose was discussed, and at that particular point in time, the finding from the state's attorney's office was that the way the state statutes were written, that we could not utilize a consultant for the role of chief subdivision engineer. But like all matters in life, you can go back and take a look at it, and possibly the interpretation might be different at this point in time. But I can tell you that right now there is no interest in seeking to fill that with a full-time engineer, largely because of the same market conditions that resulted in us in having pretty much a non-existent pool are probably even more the case now than they were about 18 months ago.
Maybe we need to change the state law then, if that's the way it is.
Well, I think that's a positive initiative, but of course, we're going to be confronted with this issue in a matter of days when Mr. Gould leaves office. Again, I don't characterize it in any kind of an emergency because, as I say, the frequency of subdivisions and plat signatures is extremely low. But as soon as I say that, something could happen on March 1st. But we are working to try and come up with an interim arrangement and then possibly a long-term arrangement that could be pretty much like what we had with Mr. Gould, or we'll certainly research whether the state's attorney's office would have a different interpretation at this point about whether it should be a consultant perform that role.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, at one of our meetings, I don't remember which one it was, it was said that Jeff will continue doing what Bruce did until we get some kind of a solution.
Okay.
So we won't be without, Jeff will continue doing what Bruce did for the time being.
So I'd suggest you tell Ronald that.
But that's what they said at one of our meetings. I mean, I'm not to say that.
Yeah, I spoke to him on Friday. He said he's done.
Okay, so do we need to bring this up to legislative to see if we can change that?
That would be a good
Beneficial.
initiative.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. Okay.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.